Welcome back to Main Street Informant. In this channel, we provide information related to wealth, money, power, finance, business, and economics. In today's video, we will talk about China and how its economy has just started crashing. What is going on right now? And how will this impact the world economy? The final nail in the coffin for China just struck. And at the end of this video, I'll reveal the two most horrifying catastrophes that will cap this economic tragedy. Please click like and subscribe before we go any further. Sharing our videos will also enable us to reach additional viewers who are interested in the issues we cover. China's economic profile has changed over the previous few decades in a historically quick manner, going from a poor country with modest economic growth to a rapidly escalating global economic power. For a number of years, forecasters have argued over when, rather than if, China will surpass the United States as the largest economy in the world. While China is still a global economic powerhouse, it is currently experiencing severe financial difficulties. There are numerous red flags, including rising income disparity, declining house prices, lack of jobs for recent graduates, and it is almost clear that the government will fall short of its 5.5% GDP objective for 2022. According to experts, China may endure a recession similar to or even worse than that which occurred in the United States in 2008, when real GDP shrank by 4.2% between Q4 2007 and Q2 2009, making it the worst economic slump since the Great Depression. During that period, 8.7 million jobs, or nearly 7%, were lost. So, what is happening now? I'll give a brief summary of what the most recent data indicates. This year's GDP growth is far less than anticipated, and that is related to the ongoing zero-COVID issue, which has resulted in sudden lockdowns in Chinese cities. According to the most recent figures, China's GDP barely increased by 0.4% in the second quarter. That means that it is considerably behind the 5.5% goal that the government set at the start of the year. Additionally, the most recent data from July indicates that nothing is improving. Consumer spending, business investment, and manufacturing output all decreased. Another alarming figure is the high rate of urban young unemployment, which reached 20% in the most recent data from July. 20% of young people looking for work in cities are unsuccessful. Furthermore, China has lost its appetite for imports. While China's import volume is unquestionably the most significant Chinese data point for the rest of the world, it has long been the world's last resort consumer. However, imports as measured in dollars have fallen, while exports have surged as the economy tries to recover from COVID-19. What makes things worse is the crashing economy of China is not being widely reported on, but there's a problem. Data is manipulated. China's economic data is not as terrible as it could be. Why? Because the data is manipulated. The Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, has been caught distorting Chinese economic data. According to recent exposes, the entire Chinese banking system is disintegrating behind the fake figures. 6 unnamed Chinese bank executives claim that government-owned banks have been providing loans at no cost. The interest rates on the loans issued by the state-owned banks are exactly the same as those on the bank's deposits. Although this government-led manipulation, which aims to provide the impression that the credit market expanding, the fake lending is actually manufactured by the CCP, who actually set the law. Due to a lack of interest in taking out loans, the CCP has been compelled to alter data. In an effort to stimulate the economy, the People's Bank of China, or PBOC, recently increased 4 key policy interest rates. In addition to this, the PBOC decreased the prime rate for 1-year loans for the second time in 2022. The Chinese government also intends to provide real estate developers with special loans totaling 200 billion yuan, or $29.2 billion. This is in addition to China's currently 1 trillion yuan, or $145 billion property fund. The final 2 nails in China's coffin are currently in their path. The COVID crisis in Hong Kong was the first nail. The tight COVID laws that Hong Kong implemented caused the city's economies to collapse because of its reliance on international trade. Hong Kong leaders have been loosening COVID regulations to battle in the city's faltering economy. Upon arrival in Hong Kong, all international travelers used to be subject to a 21-day quarantine. Later, it dropped to 7, and most recently, it was just 3 days. Unsurprisingly, this has resulted in a sharp rise of COVID cases. In just 3 months, the number of new COVID cases in Hong Kong surged from 250 per day to nearly 10,000 per day. This might be acceptable in a typical economy, but China's economy is by no means typical. China has a policy known as Zero COVID, which sets a target for the nation to have no COVID cases. It is very common to travel from Hong Kong to China and vice versa. Millions of individuals can be restricted with just one positive person traveling from Hong Kong to China. It is not a coincidence that COVID instances in China have been increasing at the same time as those in Hong Kong. Due to Hong Kong's exponential COVID trajectory, China's entire economy will inevitably collapse shortly. However, COVID is not the only issue that will cause China's economy to collapse. China is currently experiencing one of the worst droughts in recent memory, making the timing even worse. The Yangtze River is physically drying up in some places as a result of the constantly high temperatures. The Yangtze River is reportedly at its lowest level since 1865, according to a city close to Wuhan. The longest river in China and one that is regularly used for cargo transportation is the Yangtze. China is having to divert their cargo onto trucks because part of the river is no longer present. To transport the same quantity of cargo with one ship, at least 500 vehicles are normally required. Companies will see much fewer revenues if they switch to less effective shipping techniques. Due to a lack of trucks to transport all the cargo, consumers and businesses will also experience supply constraints. Tens of thousands of trucks will be added to the road, which will result in increased traffic and fuel demand. The Chinese economy will suffer from all of these issues, but there is one that is even more worrying, and that is China gets a significant amount of its electricity from the Yangtze River through hydroelectric power. The river is drying up, leaving nearby cities without power. Due to this, factories making electronics in cars have closed. China's economic crisis will be made worse by both the COVID situation and the drought. It is safe to state that China may very well be experiencing a recession at the moment, and this has urgent ramifications for the rest of the world. Since China is the world's manufacturing powerhouse, nobody is ready for what's going to happen. If you learned something valuable, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more contents like this. You can check out more videos on the channel and share. It will help my videos reach more people. See you in the next one.